Today we're going to take a look at the royal family of Hamlet, get to know the characters a little bit, and start thinking about how these characters might interact in the play itself. Our play centers around the royal family of the small nation of Denmark, and we're going to meet the whole royal family in its current state, I will say. The royal family is based off of two brothers at the time that we enter the play. There's Claudius, the younger brother, and there is also Hamlet, the older brother. And since he is the older brother, that makes him king. I'm going to abbreviate that with a little K. Okay? So these two are the head of the family. Now, King Hamlet married a woman named Gertrude. And King Hamlet and Gertrude had a son, also named Hamlet. And he is actually the Hamlet that the play is named for, so we're going to get to know him pretty well. Most of the time when we see the name Hamlet in the play, it's going to be referring to Prince Hamlet versus King Hamlet. Now, we also have a family with a father figure of Polonius at court. And Polonius is the head advisor for the king. He has two children, and unfortunately we never meet his wife. She is passed on long before the play, so we'll just give him his children here. He has a son, Laertes, who's a good friend of Prince Hamlet's, and then he also has a daughter, Ophelia, who is a little bit younger than Hamlet, but did spend her childhood growing up with Hamlet and Laertes, and so is well known by both. Now, when we meet our characters in the play, it actually comes just 2 months after King Hamlet has been discovered mysteriously dead in his garden. He'd gone out there to do some work and then apparently had fallen asleep, but when he was found later, he was just gone. And no one really knows what happened. Keep in mind, this is only 2 months later, and something a bit strange has just occurred. Gertrude, left Queen of Denmark, has married Hamlet's brother, Claudius. So she remains queen, and now Claudius has become king. This is a little upsetting for young Prince Hamlet here. He's not real happy that his mother has moved on so fast, and he'll express that to us very early in the play. So there's a bit of contention going on in their family because of that. Polonius had no major issues with this. He had been serving King Hamlet, but now he's serving Claudius just as well. His son Laertes and Hamlet had been at school. They've just returned. And Ophelia, who has been at court, is welcoming back a rather sad Prince Hamlet, who is mourning the loss of his father. So that's our Denmark royal family. But there is another family that we need to consider in this story as well. The second family that we need to be aware of in this particular play is the royal family of Norway. It's a much larger country, not too far away from Denmark, and at the time of the play, they are rivals. We have Norway, headed by Fortinbras. And while we never hear about his queen, he must have had one at some point because he has a son who is named after him, much as Hamlet is named after his father. So we have Fortinbras Jr. and Sr., and again we can differentiate them as king and prince. But much like with Hamlet, young Fortinbras, Prince Fortinbras, has lost his father as well, though to slightly different means. As it turns out, King Hamlet killed Fortinbras in the field of battle. So it wasn't necessarily an illegal means of death, but there are certainly some hurt feelings going on with young Fortinbras because of his father's death at the hands of King Hamlet, even though King Hamlet himself is now also dead. And we'll want to keep that background character and that other nation in mind as we progress through the play. Now that you have worked with some of the themes of our story and met some of our most important characters, I'd like you to take 5 minutes to reflect and make some predictions on what you think might happen in this play. How are these two royal families going to come into contact with one another? How is the problem in the Denmark royal family with this newly appointed king going to play out? How is young Prince Hamlet going to deal with the changes that have occurred in his life? And how are those themes going to come into play as well? 5 minutes, quick write, and then you'll share out.